Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Monday, October 6th, and you know what that means. It's time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Pierce. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course, the 215 on Twitter. And without further ado, let's get into the news. We have our date for Blood and Guts, Wednesday, November 12th. Looks like the women will be getting this spot. It would be really bad for AEW to do a men's and women's match, because then the women's match would just be overshadowed. But we kind of have an idea so far of some of the team. We know we got the Triangle of Madness on one side. We'll have Jamie Hayter and Queen Amanada on the other. We will see what goes down there. Masha Slamovich is on her way out of TNA. This was already in the works before the abuse allegations came out. This was already in the works. We'll see where she lands, because I'm pretty sure WWE does not want her. So we got some ticket prices for John Cena's final match. Will be going down in Washington, D.C. instead of Boston for some reason, but ticket prices are ranging anywhere from $250 up to $1,100 for a Saturday night's main event that is only airing on Peacock. TKO does not care about you. Andrade is officially all elite. He was able to immediately sign with the AEW after his WWE firing, because he was fired with cause. So no quote-unquote 90-day complete cause. And the main reason that AEW signed him is because they are looking to get a new Mexican star, build up for their time in, when they go to Mexico. And they have a lot. They have Andrade, they have Hachicero, they have Brodido, they have Hologram and El Clone. They're not lacking for stars, but obviously Andrade is the biggest of them all. The Kevin Kelly and Tate Twins lawsuit and their appeal against AEW has been denied. Looks like this defamation case is over and done with. Kevin Kelly and the Tate Twins claim wrongful termination, among other things, but they were probably never winning this case. Macy Estrella is now targeting social media with bogus copyright takedown and claims. We don't know why she's doing this. Mandy Rose tried doing the same thing and she failed. I don't know. Like, what are you gonna do? What life is she gonna live on? She shows up on Fox News. I always called her Miss All Lives Matter. TNA is not closing the door on a potential sale amid their potential growth. They're especially looking for a TV deal. Any kind of money they get for a TV deal will be a boon for them, because they air on the network who already owns them, so they don't make any money from their TV rights deals. So we'll see what goes on with that. New Japan Pro Wrestling has dialed back their events in the United States for the main reasons that some roster members just don't want to go over to the show, and attendance is down. I think what they needs to happen is more collaboration with their partners. We know we got Dream coming. I think the Wrestle Dream or Wrestle Dynasty coming up in the winter season, but collab more with your partners. Collab more with AEW, Ring of Honor, CMLL, and Stardom. Use Stardom more. So we shall see with that. The Nielsen rating system has changed, and ratings will be down across the board from everything. Now, Tony Khan knows this. WWE knows this. We'll see how this plays out in future TV contract negotiations, because, well, if you've seen the numbers for Dynamite and SmackDown last week, they are not quote-unquote good. Santos Escobar at midnight tonight will officially be a free agent. He is not re-signing with the WWE. They offered him more money, and I wouldn't sign with them either. We've seen him, Jasmine Nix, and a few others turn down more money because, well, let's be honest, they're not really being used. You had a big star, like Santos Escobar could have been a big star. Now all they saw him was nothing more than a lowly manager and an occasional jobber. That's not him. I expect big things to wherever he signs. We have two exits on the TNA front. That'll be Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. are both no longer part of TNA. We will see what's next with them, whether it's going back to Mexico or going over to New Japan. hand, we have news on Mickie James has announced on SoCal Voucher who will be inducting her into the TNA Hall of Fame. That will be none other than her former opponent, good friend Lisa Marie. You know her as Victoria in WWE and Tara in TNA. This is great big news. Both of these knockouts left an indelible mark on TNA. On the injury side of things, not much there. Rey Mysterio is getting ready to come back from his groin injuries. Gotta see the master of the 619 back on TV. And Brodido separated his shoulder. He dislocated his shoulder. He is currently in a sling. Hopefully he is good. I think he wrestled a match maybe a day or two after the dislocation. So hopefully all things are good. But that is the news, and we should be right back with the weekend review. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do with the week in review. We start off with Monday Night Raw, and the Kabuki Warriors are making their move. This show gets a fist. We open up with our recap of last week, and Asuka pretty much getting the better of Io and Rhea. Rhea comes out. Listen, she calls out the Kabuki Warriors, and Io comes out to confront Rhea. Io's conflicted because she loves Rhea. They've been great opponents. They're good friends, but she is indebted to Asuka and Kairi. They are family. Asuka manipulates her, saying, listen, Io, you're family, and demands an apology. Rhea's like, yeah, you can go to hell. Asuka and Kairi ambush Rhea, and then Io hesitates to get involved, and she catches a miss herself. And the Kabuki Warriors also lay out Rhea Ripley. Our first match of the evening was the Intercontinental Championship match with Dominic Mysterio defending against Rusev, and this was, for some reason, a back and forth match that Dom ultimately survived. He won with a mule kick and a tight roll up, sneaky low blow. He tried cheating like Eddie does his real father, but whatever. Rusev looks strong in the loss. Post match, Dom gets Eddie style heat while Rusev looks good. Backstage, Adam Pearce admits that the ref made a mistake with LA Knight last week, and Knight wants a world title shot. He's interrupted by the New Day, so he gets Kofi Kingston later in the evening. Lyra confronts Bayley, and she doesn't really trust her, but Bayley's disappointed in this dual identity thing that Bayley's got. We'll see how that works out. So we move right on to our second match of the evening, which was Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Ultimately, Raquel won. This was not a good match. I've seen better. We all have seen better from Bayley. This was sloppy, definitely in the middle. Bayley tries to come back. Roxanne tried interfering, but Lyra got involved. Raquel ultimately hits the Tejana bomb. The crowd wasn't really involved in this match. Roxanne attacked Bayley after the match. Lyra runs in, but it's overwhelming. Bayley turns on Roxanne and Raquel, and then turns on Lyra. What is going on? Then she also hugs her? Like, I don't know. The Usos are backstage. Jimmy, asks Jay, like, what's up with walking out last week? And Jay's like, listen, I don't want help. I don't need help. We got this. You're my brother, and I love you. Io's backstage. She is covered in the mist, and she is left holding a picture of Asuka and Kairi and Io, all three of them together, because Kairi pleaded her to just come back into the fold. We can redo Damage Control. Our third match was Kofi Kingston versus LA Knight. Yeah! LA Knight ultimately won after Xavier Woods tried interfering. He hit the BFT. Very, very simple. Becky Lynch was backstage berating Maxine Dupree. She slapped Tozawa, and then she ended up attacking Maxine. Later, she's talking with Seth, who insists he'll handle things with Cody. So we go into the ring with Seth and Cody. And Seth is trying to say that the winner of Crown Jewel, this is defining the future of the WWE. And Cody's like, nah, you just kind of want power. But the fans have the true power, and Seth loses composure because Cody questions about, who's really in charge? Is it Paul? Because, he's over there with Lesnar. Are you sure you're in charge? And Seth's like, everything runs through me. And he tells Cody, we were never friends, because Cody thought they were friends. They've been enemies, they've been friends, but it's not over between the two. Rhea and Io are backstage, and Io declares that her and Rhea will face the Kabuki Warriors at Crown Jewel. Rhea questions the trust, but Io reassures that, listen, I am with you. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee end up defeating Los Americanos. The other two, they are now named Bravo and Rayo. They should just call them Grande 1 or Grande 2 or whatever. This is fine. This is filler until AJ faces Cena at Crown Jewel. Backstage, Tiffany Stratton faced off, and this is whatever about the title match. The main event was Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker versus the Usos. There was tension teased with Seth and Paul, but I don't know. I think this was a tornado tag match, and this was really, really fun. Braun and Bronson ultimately dominated, but in the end, Roman Reigns made his 5th return this year and helped his cousins win the match. He laid out the bronze. After the match, Reigns just totally destroys Braun Breaker, shakes Jay's hand. He's giving a word to recover. He's in his ear, and on the side, Jimmy's just, yo, what is going on? He is very, very, very conflicted. Over on Dynamite, this was the 6th anniversary show. We have had Dynamite for 6 years. Wow, that's crazy. Like, wow. And for an anniversary show, it was just finally gets a fist. We open up with the Young Bucks skit, who are now backed by Brandon Cutler, and Nick gambled away all of the money. So they are now the broke Bucks. But the opening contest was the Young Bucks teaming with Josh Alexander to take on Kenny Omega and Brodido. Ultimately, this was a fun match. Big spots, big dives, a lot of chaos. Ultimately, Omega and Brodido won the match. The Bucks and Omega kind of stared each other down. You know, we're friends. What's going on? Alexander ultimately attacked. Jurassic Express made the save, but also Kenny Omega wasn't having it because he remembers the last time him and Jack Perry were in the ring together. That is called continuity, ladies and gentlemen. Omega cut a promo talking about AEW and the anniversary. The lights come out, lights go out, lights go back on, and Andrade's All Elite takes out Kenny Omega, and Andrade is now a part of the Don Callis family. We got a highlight reel highlighting everything leading up to this Dynamite 6th anniversary. We got mostly the current roster, some Punk, some Cody, little to no Jericho, which is odd, but we'll see about that. Mark Briscoe cut a really beautiful promo. He said MJF is still recovering from the attack, and that he can celebrate his friends, he can support his people like OC, and he is ready to win the big one. Kyle Fletcher ultimately ended up defeating Orange Cassidy, did a fantastic match to retain the TNT Championship. After the match, all the Hills attacked Cassidy, but the Paragon and Mark Briscoe made the save with the Don Callis family on the stage. Remember, this is supposed to be Hologram, but Hologram is hurt. El Clone made his debut here, and he also joined the Don Callis family. So, to the best of my knowledge, the Don Callis family is Josh Alexander, Andrade, Okada, Lance Archer, Kyle Fletcher, Rocky Romero, El Clone, Konosuke Takeshita, Hachicero, and then I know Hurt, Brian Cage, Mark Davis, and Wardlow. So that would mean there are 12 members of the Don Callis family. So he now has his disciples. That's pretty it's pretty crazy, but it's comical how big they are growing. Backstage, Mercedes Moné has an interview. She will soon be the longest reigning TBS champion and wants to face someone local next week for the homecoming in Jacksonville, and she's looking to add some more gold around her waist. She's looking for a tag team partner, so who will team up with her? Of course comes in Harley Cameron, and Mercedes is like, nah, because every time we've teamed together we've lost, so no. But I pretty much see this happen. She's like, also, aren't you with Kris Statlander right now? I don't know, it doesn't matter. As long as I get more Harley Cameron on my TV, I am happy. Next match was Samoa Joe Hobbs and Hangman taking on Mox, Claudio, and Daniel Garcia, the Opps versus the Death Riders. It was a good, hard-hitting match. Ultimately, Hangman, Hobbs, and Joe won after Hangman hit Claudio with the buckshot. After the match, after celebrating, Hangman gets Joe and Hobbs' title, gives them to him, and kind of like forcibly but not purposely shoves them into Joe, and Joe's mad because Joe also thinks Hangman stole the pin from him, and there's a pull apart brawl. They didn't come to blows, but later in the back, Joe, being Joe, because Joe's fucking awesome, challenged Hangman to the match at Wrestle Dream, and Hangman accepted the challenge. So this is going to be good. I did not have Hangman versus Joe on my Wrestle Dream calendar. So then we had Tay Mello versus Toni Storm in a fine match. Storm looked a little lost without her championship. She's still trying to find herself, but Tay also looked good here. Storm ultimately won and cut a promo saying she wants Statlander 1-on-1. Then we had the Gates of Agony taking on the Swirl in a nice little match, but the Gates of Agony ultimately won. After the match, the Hurt Syndicate came out, and MVP says, yeah, listen, you beat me. Those boys are good. Talking about the Gates of Agony. And I may have lost a step, but the one thing I can do is fight. And he challenges the Demand, which is the group of Gates of Agony, Ricochet, to a street fight next week, which they accept. Backstage, Statlander accepted Storm's rematch, and Harley hyped her up with whatever Harley does. The Don Callis fans were interviewed backstage, officially announcing Andrade and El Clone as part of the family, and sets up Takeshita and Okada versus Brodido next week, which Takeshita kind of has a problem with in our main event, and a tornado tag team match. Darby Allin and Kris Statlander took on Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir in just an absolutely fun affair. Ultimately, Darby and Stat won the match with Stat suplexing Yuta, 450 splash, coffin drop. After the match, Tony confronted Stat, and they just started boxing on the stage, whereas Pac attacked Darby with the dog collar, and Mox promised to make Darby a man who never quits to quit at Wrestle Dream. Over on Impact, we are getting ready for the showdown. This show gets a fist. Santino issues a warning to Mike Santana that if he touches Trick before Bound for Glory, the title match will be canceled. We have the King's Speech segment with Frankie Kazarian, whose guests included Kelani Jordan, Trick Williams, Matt Hardy, Leon Slater, and Andy Hartwell. Ultimately, Santino came out and made a 6-person tag match, which led to Leon, Matt, and Indy versus Trick, Frankie, and Kelani Jordan. I understand that they had to pivot when Ash had to drop the title, but Kelani Jordan, and there's nothing against Kelani Jordan, but they should have just put the title on a TNA person. Santana was on commentary, and this was the standard fine showcase match. Ultimately, Team TNA won, right? Yeah, Team TNA. No, the bad guys won. Out of Kelani Jordan's not bad. No, the good guys won. Slater, Hardy, and Indy Hartwell won the match. And Santana threw the TNA belt at Trick. We had a hype showdown package. Tommy Dreamer with TNA wrestlers would rally the crowd on the stage, rally the troops. Then we had the Andrew Warriors team of Isaiah Brookside and Lei Ying Lee won a squash match, defeating Kat Von Hees and Ava Lawless. Backstage, Joe Hendry interrupted Santino. He wants a rematch with Eric Young set, and that will be no disqualification. Mike Santana cut a promo saying, Trick disrespected their house, and he's going to end him. He's going to bring it home. The Hometown Man versus Nick Nemeth was a fun match. Ultimately, Nick Nemeth won, giving the Hometown Man his first pinfall loss. After the match, Nemeth stopped the Hometown Man, beat him down until Matt Cardona tried making a save, but he was ultimately overwhelmed. Gia Miller cut a promo, said Tessa attacked her to return, claimed she's had a clause allowing her to fight Tessa, so they will be, scrapping at Bound for Glory, which I'm very much interested in because I like Tessa and I very much like Gia Miller. It's good to see her back in the ring. Alicia Edwards took on Tasha Steele. She ultimately won. She reversed something and then hit the pedigree. I believe that's her finisher. Jason Hodge tried distracting the ref, but it didn't work. After the match, Tasha attacked Alicia until the system ran her off. Tessa responded and kind to Gia, saying, listen, I'm training and I mentored you, but hey, you quit. Whatever. I'm going to beat your ass. Main event match was the Elegance brand defending the Knockouts Tag Team Championship against the Inspiration in what was a very, very obvious outcome, the Inspiration became your new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. So this was a fine match. We'll see how they rebrand and regroup. Heather Reckless and Maggie Lee over on SmackDown. We have ourselves another fine show. They're kind of just spinning emotions here. This show gets a fist. Cody was in the ring, who obviously was interrupted by Paul Heyman, who had Braun and Bronson with him. And he's like, listen, Paul's like, listen, we're just here because I know if we attack you, Randy is going to show up, so let's just get this out the way. But Randy ultimately made the save. Tiffany Stratton is outside coming up for the contract signing. Backstage, Miz is like, yo, what's up? What's up? Like, you didn't help me last week. And Mel was like, you should have kicked out. And listen, this partnership is over, and I like you, and I'm doing you a favor because usually I hit first. All right. So Sammy was having his open challenge, and Hayes came out to accept until Miz attacked Hayes, hit him with a skull-crushing finale on the stage. So Aleister Black replaced Carmelo Hayes. This was a good, fine match. Sami Zayn ultimately won with the Helluva Kick, followed by the Blue Thunder Bomb. This is the third week in a row he's won with the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment. But it was a little bit of distraction as Damian Priest came out, and after the match, Priest gave Aleister Black a razor's edge through the announced desk. Backstage, Nick Aldis was with Solrook and Lazaria, set up a match between them two versus Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. Ultimately, Zaruka won the match because they were always going to win the match. Zaruka countered the Unprettier and hit a Soul Snatcher. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair were looking backstage, and they were a little bit impressed. Cody and Randy are backstage, and they reiterate that they have each other's back. We have the contract signing between Tiffany and Stephanie, which they signed the deal on the dotted lines. Kiana James and Joya attacks Tiffany because they wanted to, team up with Stephanie, but it ain't going down like that, so we'll probably get a tag match later in the evening. Javon Evans is backstage with Nick Aldis, and Ray Phoenix approached him to challenge him. And we got a tag match with Javon Evans and Ray Phoenix. He was just completely lost on the main roster at this point to face Los Garza. Ultimately, they won in a fun match. It's whatever. Kathy Kelly interviewed Damian Priest backstage. Kit Wilson Moxley was in a wheelchair, so Priest beat him up. Okay. And they challenged Aleister Black to a last man standing match on next week. Then we had Jacob Fatu saying he's all gas, no brakes, and he's aiming for the top. That's where starting his push again. And then Solo in his backstage segment hyped Tyler Tonga's loyalty, hinted at a bloodline missing a piece, which is probably Zilla Fatu. So we'll see what happens with them. BFAT reiterates that the Street Profits are all good and that they are united, even though there's still a rift teasing coming from the Wyatt Six side of things. And in the main event, our fourth match of the evening, Cody and Randy took on Bronson and Braun. Ultimately, the Browns won in a fine match. Seth interfered, stomping Orton, and then Bronson Reed hit the tsunami. Seth was being talked out of attacking Cody by Paul Heyman. Paul said, let it go. No. Seth went against the words of his oracle and ended up getting hit with a crossroads over on Collision. We are building towards Homecoming next week. We see everybody backstage, and Pac confronted Orange Cassidy, challenged him to a match on Dynamite, and these two always make magic together, and it will be going down next week. First match of the evening was the Death Riders team of Moxley and Claudio taking on, and it was Moxley, Claudio, and Daniel Garcia taking on Jay Lethal, Adam Priest, and Tom Billingsley. Ultimately, the Death Riders won the match. This was fine. After the match, Matt Menard once again confronted Daniel Garcia. And Garcia with some harsh words says, I love you, you're a brother, but we are losers. You are a loser, and I won't be like you or that parasite, pointing to Nigel McGuinness. Again, Mox was just like, quarter on camera was hilarious, and I like with this promo we set up a future match against Matt Menard. We set up a future match against Nigel McGuinness, which is where the real magic is, and that's where the real money is at. We got an injury update of Nick Wayne, who will be out for 6 to 8 weeks, but he vows to get another opinion. Anna Jay took on Jamie Hayter. Anna tried her best, but ultimately Jamie won with the Hayter Max Caster was backstage celebrating their win last week, and then Big Bill and Brian Keith was like, listen, you only won because of Bowens, but you two aren't even a team anymore. Bowens arrived to support, and we got the match set up. They'll be teaming again, but not as the Acclaim. We got a video package for Sari versus Alex Winder with the IWGP Women's Championship on the line next week on Ring of Honor. Go watch that match when it airs. Sari is so good, ladies and gentlemen. Then we had LFI take on squash match. They won. Then we had Eddie Kingston defeat Dralistico. So, okay. Hook was there to support Eddie. We'll see what goes down there. LFI, Sammy, Hook, Eddie Kingston. I'm all for MXM TV. Had an open challenge, took on two members of Don Callis family, and it was answered by Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. And you knew how this played out. Fletcher and Takeshita won easily. Backstage, Dalton Castle and Outrunners declared themselves and their ambitions for the Trios Championship. Dalton's a little nervous, but his teammates hyped them up. I'm really enjoying this team of Dalton Castle and the Outrunners. The Triangle of Madness ambushed Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata backstage. Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, did they ambush them backstage. Then we had Dax and Harwood take on Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight ultimately won this match. Wheeler Yuta tried causing some interference for some reason. I'm not Cash Wheeler, not Wheeler Yuta, Cash Wheeler. But Kevin Knight ultimately won the match, and FTR saved Stokely because Willow was going to beat his ass, and Megan Bain attacked Willow. Skyflight will be challenging for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles, and Shane Taylor Pro was like, all right, just bring it. Kris and Tony were in the ring. They exchanged mutual respect for each other before deciding, you know what, we just gonna fight. And they fought until the Triangle Man has attacked both of them. Harley Cameron made the save, and we got a 6-woman tag match set up for next week. We got another video package for Hangman versus Samoa Joe. In the main event, the Don Callis family members of Lance Archer, Hachi Shadow, and Rocky Romero took on the Paragon and Orange Cassidy. Ultimately, the Paragon and OC won, and the rest of the family confronted the Paragon and Cassidy. And you saw Roderick Strong, not try to celebrate because he's never liked Orange Cassidy. He's never liked the conglomeration. That is so true within the story. So we're moving things along. This was okay. Show gets a fizz. No show this week was like overtly great. Our matches of the week from NXT: Javon Evans and Leon Slater versus the Culling. From Dynamite, probably the second best match of the week. Brodido and Kenny Omega versus Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. From Dynamite, the best match of the week. Kyle Fletcher versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW TNT Championship. Also from Dynamite, Adam Page and the Opps versus the Death Riders. And of course, the Mixed Tornado Tag match. Dynamite has some good matches, but it didn't help elevate the show per se to a thumbs up. Kris Statlander and Darby Allin versus the Death Riders in a Mixed Tornado Tag match. As for our star of the week, it's gotta go to the inspiration for becoming your new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. That is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Look what we got going on the screen coming up for you. You can check out the socials. Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube. Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram. And of course, the 215 on Twitter. I see you when I see you. Peace.